Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to invite you on my show, Let's Talk with Elena Berman. And today I have for you a very special guest, my personal friend for many years. And I'm happy that he found today in this hectic time for us, because his knowledge and his wisdom, his opinions on what's going on right now in the world and how to help for some people, it will be very vitally important. So please pay attention what this person going to reveal for you, and probably will make you think about stuff what you never thought. Martial arts legend and quintessential action movie villain Mel Novak has battled a who is who of legendary Hollywood heroes and is best known as the iconic stick in assassin in Bruce Lee's Game of Death. He has also starred in Black Belt Jones opposite Jim Kelly, The Ultimate Warrior opposite Yul Brynner, Eye for an Eye opposite Chuck Norris, Christopher Lee and Richard Roundtree, Tom Horn opposite Steve McQueen, and more recently in Gregory Hatakana's Samurai Cop 2, Deadly Vengeance, opposite Bei Ling. He has also been inducted to the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. Playing the villain Stick in Bruce Lee's movie Game of Death 1978 gave him the open invitation one Easter Sunday service to preach the world to a group of people who were homeless and who were in and out of the criminal system. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mel Novak.
Thank you for having me, and it's always good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to come inside of your life.
Yes.
By looking on this very unique stuff what you collected over the years, I can only see that how deep you are inside, because not every person will collect stones. You have to understand what you're doing, and probably you have a reason why did you start to do that. And I would love to talk with you about relationships.
Yes.
And relationships with everything.
Yes.
With yourself, with your family, at your work, with your friends, and by the way, with stones. I would love to know a lot more about that.
Yes.
Please tell me about this kind of jewels.
Well, I've been collecting for years, and I have, if you go in the kitchen, it's there in my office, upstairs, here, and they're beautiful. And it's like on a geode. It's all harsh on the back. You got to cut through it with a diamond saw, and then it's opened, but it's still not pretty. Then you polish it. The rough polish, the medium, and then finally, that's how it is in our life. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are broken, walking wounded. And in the movies, I play villains. I was voted one of the 35 most prominent villains at IMDb, and that's 35 out of probably thousands of actors who were villains. And but in real life, I have a Skid Row prison ministry, and I minister to a lot of people who are hurting, struggling. And one of the things you said, it's so important. In fact, I talked to someone this morning, and she never forgave herself. That's different than me forgiving you or you forgiving me. And forgiveness is the key to healing.
Yes, of course.
It's because if it turns to a root of bitterness, that person's life is just going to go down and down. And even in the Bible, Acts 8:23 says, poisoned by bitterness, bound by iniquity. Iniquity resentment, hostility, anger, frustration, impatience, anxiety. All those things are destructive. They're tools that the devil uses to bring people down.
Yeah, how did you come up to this kind of revelation? Because you are started as a beautiful, handsome man. I saw how you started your career. It's unbelievable. And you were playing usually bad guys. And is it your personal choice? Because usually people make a choice for something. What happened to you that you decided to play that roles?
Well, my first big television role was Mannix. And I played a hitman. And I shot someone with a silencer. And then the next thing I got was a villain. And all at once, people are thinking of me only as a villain.
That's right.
And that's totally opposite of what I am.
Absolutely.
And-
I can testify, guys. It's absolutely different people. Milan on the movies and in life, because it is a pure love, kindness, and guardian, by the way.
You know, what you said is so important. What's missing in the world? There's not much love anymore.
Absolutely.
Whatever happened to compassion and having empathy for people? And this is what, I didn't come to California to be an actor or a minister. And I left Pennsylvania broken because I had 60 scholarships for football, American football, major universities, basketball. I signed a pro baseball contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and a year and a half later, I had a massive rotator cuff tear. They operated, and I was a cripple for 5 years. 18-inch scar. So my career was gone, scholarship, everything's gone. And I came out here, and I just got a job with an insurance company. And one of the gals says, "You look great in your suits. My cousin's a modeling agent. Would you like to meet her?" I said, "Sure." I started modeling. And then when they sent me to acting schools, but I had a job, I had income coming in, because a lot of actors, they're eating 2 hot dogs a day, and I'd rather have filet mignon.
Yeah.
So that's how it started, and I learned well with camera technique, cold reading. I was with some really good acting schools, Screen Actors Studio, Michael Pate, Stacey Harris, Corey Allen, who was in Rebel Without a Cause, Estelle Harmon. I learned good while I was waiting. So when I don't believe in luck. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
That's right.
So, and then I did the Mannix and other shows, FBI, Beretta. And then I had an interview for a reading for Black Belt Jones. It was for a hitman named Blue Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the role. And after one day of shooting, the producer and director called me in, and I said, "Did I do something wrong?" "No, you did everything right. But your crime partner can't handle dialogue. We want to know if we can give you his dialogue." I says, "Give me all the dialogue you want." So my part increased, and 2/3 through the picture, the director, Robert Klaus, said, "I'm going to take you to Hong Kong to do the Bruce Lee movie." That's how that started. It seems like everybody in the world has seen that movie. But in the meantime, while I was doing these things, I had to get healed. I had to learn the things that are harmful to one's psyche, the mind, heart, and emotion. That's where the devil attacks people, your mind, heart, and emotion. Today I talked to somebody, she's constantly in the past. It's like Isaiah 43:18 says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing." We can't change the past. Tomorrow's not promised. Proverbs 27:1. What are you going to do with today? And how will you be able to get a relationship with somebody if you're carrying all that baggage? And I've learned to be a good listener, and I know with counseling on Skid Row's hopelessness is the most devastating emotion in the world.
Yeah, but you learn that hopelessness.
Yeah.
You're not born with that.
Oh, no. Well, you're not born with it unless you're in poverty with a mother and father who are alcoholics and they're
Anyway, you
abusive.
learn because you live in that
Yeah.
environment.
So I was able to help so many people, and in prisons and penitentiaries. I know in the women's prison, that you talk about walking wounded. I get a lot of proposals in the women's prison.
They want to get married.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
that's a
hurting.
great choice.
And then a lot of drugs. And thank God I never did drugs and I never drank. And I'm Serbian. Serbians like to drink. And so I'm able to give. See, in this world today, people selfish. They want to get and they want to take. What about just giving and helping others who need help? Someone that needs money for food or something like that, and to encourage. See, that's what I'm good at, encouraging. Discouragement is the devil's most worn out tool. It eats people up, literally. And then they don't feel that they have worth and value.
And why do you think it is? Why people are discouraged and why they're helpless?
Because, well, it starts out, they have no faith in God, and that's devastating. And the devil works on the mind. The mind is the devil's playground. So I will give them, for example, a lot of people who think they have no worth or no value. This is so important. God says in Jeremiah 29:11, I know the thoughts and plans I have toward you, peace, not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. They don't know about that. So you got to tell them and encourage them. Because if you don't feel good about yourself, if you're discouraged, how will you find someone to love and to love them the proper way?
Absolutely. Tell about you, by the way, personal story, because I know, actually I don't know, are you dating or are you about to marry? I don't know, but how did you had your life on love?
I was married 13 years, and turned out now she became a workaholic. She didn't want me in ministry or in movies, and that's how it always was. And so she left. You know, when people get abandoned, it's a very difficult issue to deal with. But what I did, I have two daughters. When she left, they were 7 and 10. I raised them.
She left you.
Oh yeah, wanted me. You got to just work and be a workaholic like me and make money. And I says, yeah, but you abandoned the kids, and me. So all these years, all that being a workaholic, she has nothing to show. See, money's not bad. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. That becomes your God. There are things that happen that you can't even imagine.
Yeah, and you by yourself raised beautiful daughters. It's unbelievable. You did a great job.
My daughter, like my daughter in Oregon, I was just up there. Her son has cancer. He's just turned 20. And just a great kid. And I'm there with her. I helped her open up her studio. You know, I gave her a lot of money. And plus, a dad is supposed to have a legacy for their children. That's biblical. And I have annuities. I won't touch them. It's not mine, it's theirs. So there's so many. I'm actually counseling several whose their dad abandoned them, and they have very tough issues. The one has issues to get a boyfriend or to get married, because that's that father issue.
Yeah.
But my daughter
Always betrayed you.
yes, and so what happens when I quit acting for 2.5 years because my daughters needed me to be with them, and I took care of them, and I was working in a law office because I had some when I worked with that insurance company, I took law courses, so I was good at negotiating, and I got a job with a law.
Very necessary skill in America.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I got a job as a negotiator. I brought in 1.1 million a month for 4 years, and I made a lot of money. Put that money away for the kids, and then I started to do a lot of movies. You know, it's amazing where I came from. We didn't have a red light in the town. We had to walk to the next town to school because my family we didn't have a car.
This is actually great therapeutic, because when you walk in, you live in, and you don't need any treatment anymore because you walk in.
Well, I played all the sports. I mean,
Plus you
I loved sports, and so I ended up doing 63 movies, and I got 2 more to finish, and I'm signed for 2 more. It's amazing.
You are so talented, you're so busy, and you never stop. What about, could you tell me what is most fascinated on the scene when you are acting? Because I know, because I've been going through acting classes with Steve Railsback, probably you know him, and I know you need to put yourself in the mood. How do you do that?
I start walking in some other person's feet, so I'm trying to think like him.
Mm-hmm.
How would I react in a certain scene? It's like I never killed anybody, but in the movies I might have killed maybe 300 people. I've died 26 times.
Wow.
But I got to be honest with you, I enjoy playing the villain. It's something where you could be someone else, and I'm not a screamer when I'm acting.
And get away from punishment, right?
Yeah, except I got killed. That's a lot of times they get killed in the movies. But I've learned to be that person at that specific time. And then when it's over, I don't take it home with me. So
it's look like
discipline
release for you, right? Because we all have a bad and good in our body,
oh, sure.
right? So you kind of playing all bad there, and then you come home, you're all pretty, beautiful, kind, and everything.
It's, you know, the best part of my life is I've helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And that's, you know, that's a good legacy. You know, they talk about, oh, you did this movie, you fought Bruce Lee, and I did my own fights and stunts. And that's where I hurt my back in that one movie, but I'm still doing them. And you know, you have to be disciplined. And when I go on, I've seen in movies people who came on a set and they're doing drugs, you know.
And then go play role?
Yeah, and
how does it work out?
well, not so good. And drinking. I know I did a movie with Yul Brynner and Max von Sydow. You know, these are big stars. I did the second toughest stunt in the whole movie. They made me an honorary stuntman. But one of the guys, really good actor, he was drinking vodka all day.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But it's these things will age you, make you older. and it starts affecting, it's like the guys that drink whiskey all the time, their liver goes.
Of course.
It's horrible.
And plus, probably he will blame some virus or something. He just didn't do his lifestyle proper way. Now a lot of people who doesn't watch what they drink, what they think, what they eat, they started to blame outside problems. For example, like virus, which is very easy to read off.
Blame makes lame. Blame will cripple you.
Yes.
I tell people, you got to take responsibility. You did so and so. Okay, you got to move on. You can never give up.
Yeah.
You got to keep pressing on. I mean, when I came out here, I was like a cripple. Well, I went from a world-class athlete to a cripple. Well, that Serbian warrior in me to fight and to what I did, and it's like I've been to some of the worst penitentiaries in the country, and I get favor there. Well, it helps that I played villains and I was mean and stuff, but there's always multitudes of people who need encouragement. You know, this one gal, she struggles. She has no peace. So I said, anxiety is a thief of peace. You get it from anxiety, you get headaches, high blood pressure, irritable bowel syndrome, digestive system problem, nervous system problem. This is a fiery dart to the devil. It's like I've seen people in the movies and they get all nervous and anxious. Well, this isn't life and death. It's 1 million people would like to be here. Calm down. It's okay. Because once anxiety takes over, worry will come in. Worry short circuits God's promises. Then they start fretting. Oh, Mel, what am I going to do? Stop it. Psalm 37:8, cease from fretting, it causes harm. And then here comes the big S, stress. Stress is a killer. There was a gal that I was helping, and people were trying to rip her off. She got so stressed that every minute she'd go, I said, that's coming from your anxiety, your worry, your fretting, stress, and tension. It's eating you up. You know, I should have died 7 times in my life. Even when I was dying, I didn't have that. I just, well, I just kept on going. Yeah. I mean, it's like I've had miracles in my life. I had surgery on my throat 10 times in 10 years. How could I act or be a minister or even do anything if you can't talk? See, there's always something. So it's not what happened. It's what are you going to do with what happened? You got to turn that negative factor into something you can do it. There's a...
Basically, people saying, fake it until you make it, right?
Well, the faking continues too long. It's like, what can I do about this? You know, how can I handle this? What do I have to do? That's why a lot of people start drinking. You got a lot of women who are, you know, their husbands were abusive and hit them. It's hard to understand why a woman would let that man do that, but they always think, well, I got to show them I'm a good person. They are good people, but those kind of people, they're not going to change.
Absolutely.
And the negative part of it is just harmful. There was a gal out in the Chino women's prison. She was Hispanic. Her husband beat her up 4 times a week, sometimes 5. Bleeding, drunk, alcoholic. And one day, he came home and did that. And she was sitting there bleeding. She got a butcher knife. And he's there sleeping on the couch, drunk. She cut his throat. You want to hit me now? Hello?
But it is already kind of borderline where she shouldn't even pass, because if she would do something before that, before she was so much angry at him, she would leave him or something. Never would happen like this.
She had nowhere to go. She had no skills to get a job. She was boxed in. So if I was a judge, I would have gave her 7 months. They gave her 25 years.
Wow.
And one night, she was going to commit suicide in the prison. And one of the girls said, hey, this guy's coming. He really gives an encouraging message. He's done a lot of movies. Why don't you come with me? And she did. She came. And my message was so good for her heart, she didn't commit suicide.
You saved her life.
She sent me a letter that makes you cry. I gave it to my daughter. You know those big black shop garbage bags?
Mm-hmm.
I had one full of letters from people in prisons and Skid Row in life. And my daughter Leah, she says, I don't want you to throw those away. I want them. So, but there's always someone that's hurting. Do you know that between Thanksgiving and Christmas every year, you have 400,000 to 500,000 people in our country every year attempt suicide, and half of them die. I talked to some of them who didn't die. I said, why would you do that? Life is short. You can do something. I was lonely. Well, loneliness is a state of mind. You got to do what you got to do. You got to wait. First, if you're looking for some relationship, you got to get yourself together so when you do meet, you're bringing something in the relationship, not doom and gloom. There's a message I give on my website, melnovak.com. There's a spiritual warfare prayer on there. I call it God's arsenal prayer. It dresses you for the battle against the devil. And it says, above all, put on your shield of faith to quench every fiery dart, arrow, or spear. Well, if you don't do that, you don't have that armor up, you get hit. I call the deadly D's. Mm-hmm. D like David. Disappointment, discouragement, doubt, discontent, despair, despondency, disillusionment, demoralization, dejection, depression. And that's when they hear that suicide voice. It's not the answer. You have to.
So those steps actually leading you to only one result, right? Yeah. And you have to pay attention to those deals.
Exactly.
I encourage everybody to learn those words.
You know, everybody's hit with disappointment in their lives, but what you can't dwell on it. You know, since I was 3 years old, I wanted to play pro baseball. Well, now I'm 19 and I'm crippled. I got an 18-inch scar. Everything's gone. I didn't turn. 97% would have turned to drugs or alcohol to numb the pain, medicate the pain, escape. We can't do that. We have to battle. We have to. Okay, I'm struggling here. What am I going to do? I'm not going to just give up on my life. We got to battle. But the worst thing now with people is losing, this COVID, the devil's number one tool is fear. Fear and faith can't live in the same heart, and fear paralyzes. There was a friend of mine. He was 165 pounds. When his COVID hit, fear hit him so much he went down to 117, and he swallowed 100 pills. 100.
What pills?
Sleeping pills.
Oh, sleeping pills.
Yeah, to kill himself.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and fear is deadly, but it'll paralyze.
Absolutely. And what do you think this situation, it's like for somebody who are born or like new generation, for them this is the first life. They don't have any back experience. For us, even for you, even farther. You can see what the different life was before and now. For example, your age, people had 2 vaccines, and this is considered fully vaccinated. Now we have like 15, 17 of them, and now they want to make this like flu shot. So why do you think this is happening? And do you see the difference on the people's behavior, people's mind?
Yeah.
Does it affect, do you think what is affecting people sense of reality, sense of well-being or recognition of themselves?
There's too much insecurity. They're wavering, and you know, even if they get the vaccine, they can still get that COVID.
Of course.
And the flu shot, I stopped taking that flu shot years ago because every time you took that, you got sick the next day. I won't do it. I won't take the other. You have some billionaires who are sick people. They want to wipe out the 65-year-old and olders out of the world. They're trying to play God. You know, with God, there's a time. We never know when or who or what. But what's happening is causing people in an emotional turmoil, down, 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 where they don't feel good about anything.
You said a very interesting phrase, somebody's trying to play God. But isn't it what people constantly hear in church or in some spiritual places where guru saying them or priest, you are a God, you are made like a God. So you have a part of the God in yourself. So maybe they took this message in wrong direction.
I don't know what church that was, but I can give you about 10 scriptures. There are no other gods but me. And, you know, Jesus Christ, we just had Easter, and that tomb is empty. And people need to understand there's heaven and there's hell. It's a choice. Nobody's turned away. But you got these people, and they're billionaires. And it's like the one that he turned in a lot of Jewish people to the Nazis and became very wealthy. I wouldn't want to be him when it comes to meeting his maker.
You mean Hungarian one?
Soros?
Yes.
Yeah. And you got Gates trying to wipe. It's amazing, these people who get blessed. You know, if you're a billionaire, I'd be opening up missions to feed these people, to help them with housing, and to have them sit and kind of, well, what's going on in your mind and your heart and emotions? And so they can get healed. Our psychiatric wards are jammed. I've ministered in psychiatric wards in prisons, and LA County psychiatric ward. I was there for a year and a half ministering. It's horrible. And they keep drugging them, and they're walking around like a zombie. See, this isn't how it's supposed to be.
Isn't it funny? I believe that people doing for themselves everything by themselves. For example, how they end up in the prison because they did bad choice. Yeah. Or they were thinking something not right that led them to certain directions. The same with leaders, kind of leaders, who pretend to be leaders. Yeah. And what happened to them? Why their mind screwed up?
Well, it's egos, where they want to be God, they want to play God. God hates pride. James 4:6, 1 Peter 5:5. He resists the proud, gives grace to the humble. Mm-hmm. But when you try to play God, and I've known murderers in the prisons. Why do you think he wanted to do that, bro? I would ask him. Well, he made me mad. Yeah, but you're here now. You're on death row. Do you see the choice? See, everything's a choice.
If you will not react and not become angry,
Exactly.
you're not in prison.
That's what I tell people. When someone gets you upset and angry, don't react and respond in the same manner. If I correct somebody, if I do it kindly but firmly, without being self-righteous or judging, they're going to accept if they do it. If they don't, it's on them, not on me.
That's right.
And this is the thing. Like anger is a wrong man's righteousness. There was a guy in this prison. He was a little bald-headed guy, chubby, and he came to the service because I was an actor. What are you in here for, bro? Well, I killed my wife. I said, why do you want to do that?
Unbelievable.
For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, till death do us part. That doesn't mean you kill him. I thought she was cheating on me. She was out bowling. He killed her. 25 to life.
For example, why people so take personally somebody's business? This is her business, why she was cheating. And I know why. I can guess that there is two only reasons. And he taken that so personally. Instead of working on himself, he decided to kill this mirror, break this mirror, because he is so pissed off to watch himself that he decided to break it better.
This is the key, what you said. When I counsel, I mean, I counseled this couple and I played softball with him. He thought I was going to give him favor. I don't give favor. I'm trying to help. And when's the last time you told her you loved her? What the hell am I going to do that for? I told her when I got married. You dummy, you should do it all the time. And when they have a argument, I don't want to talk about it anymore. How can you resolve something if you don't brainstorm and talk and stop interrupting? You always interrupt. Now, you want to keep interrupting me, you can leave.
Do you think maybe it is something, when the schizophrenic, they don't control their impulses? Probably those people who cannot hold themselves, who cannot follow the directions, or cannot become listeners, probably something wrong with their head.
Well, it still comes down to pride and ego, or what I'm saying is more important than what you're saying. No, it isn't. Men don't listen like they're supposed to. How will you know your wife wants to express something to you, or your girlfriend? What you're doing is hurting her. I don't want to talk about it. Stop it. And that's what I do. I get them. Unless you listen and do the right thing, then don't come here. Because I don't charge people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Psychiatrists, they charge a lot of money. But
very often
I'm trying to help somebody. And, just like I always made this note, the intimacy need. I call this the 5 A's. Acceptance, affection, appreciation, approval, attention. And you got to encourage one another.
Yeah.
Tells them, but you know what one of the worst things I found? A person that's controlling, demanding, manipulative. That's a spirit of witchcraft. That'll destroy any relationship. Well, I love you, but you got to do so and so. Get out of here. Not good.
You said very interesting point. By the way, I heard this from other men. For example, if you are playing bad guys, gangsters or something, I know this from the first hand, that when man is silent, it gives him more authority in the group than if he would talk. And second, when man is listening for the woman, and women, we usually talk, right? You receiver in this point. But you don't have to even listen what the woman's saying, right? You just pretend like you're listening.
That's, I know, but that's
And this
bad.
is it. But of course, we want to have receiver as well.
You know,
Answering.
but that's controlling again. Well, I'm going to make it, or give her silence. She's not going to hear it. Makes a nice meal. She doesn't even say thank you. And with me,
Not silent, just listening. I'm talking about when you talk, not interrupt.
I, me, and my, that's the unholy trinity. I, me, and my, and self. It's all about me. Selfishness is not good at all.
Yeah, all we know that, but how you can catch that it will not grow, and how you can change it if you already have it.
Most don't look to change it. And the person who does it, certainly 9 out of 10 won't try to change it because they're conditioned to it and they're going to do it, and that's how they control relationships. And that's why relationships usually go down the tubes.
So we come into the end of the world, looks like, because nobody wants to change. So something should change people, right? And this is what we have right now.
If I don't like what I tell them, if I don't like how my life is going, I need to make a change. If I don't make a change, my life is never going to change.
Yeah.
But if the pride and ego is nothing wrong with me, it's you. Blame makes lame.
But this will be to the point, whereas will be enough is enough. If you don't change anything, because we are in the group, we are society, we are population, wherever, and we have not only personal plans and agenda or life, we have like a group, like a humanity. So if will be some interaction, probably it will correct by itself in the group, because one day your personal ego and your personal interest that will be interfere with the group interest. So guess what? Who will be winning? Probably group interest, right?
Yeah, but there's not many that go into a group. Because that way they're exposed. In a group you have to talk and express things, and it exposes who they really are. And I'm not going to do that. No, you go do it. I'm not going to do that. It's like some mates won't go to counseling, marriage counselor. Reminded, it's okay. I've helped so many people with their marriages since I went through that, because I learned all the scriptures and I learned about pride and ego and the love of money that's the root of all kinds of evil. And I turned it around. And, the blessing was my daughters love me to pieces. My daughter in Oregon, she really doesn't have a relationship with her mother. The mother was never there.
It's a shame.
And even, it's just tragic. There's so much of that goes on with so many people. I can't even conceive of bailing out on my children. There's no way in the world. I can't compute that. I even told those guys in the hardcore prisons, if you don't at least write to your daughter or son, shame on you. Well, they could have stabbed me and everything else, but they just put their head down. I mean, God gave me favor in those places, but you got to tell the truth. And then the person who's struggling with these things, they have to tell themselves the truth. Look into ourself instead of the other person.
Yeah.
Why am I going through these things? What can I do to make it better? Ask questions, and don't tell lies. lie, lie like a rug, boy.
Do you socialize with other your fellows from Hollywood, actors or maybe directors or producers? What kind of relationships you have with them?
Well, you see them at red carpet and premieres and stuff. I keep a small circle around me because so many times people get jealous of what you're doing, and the other friend that you know, they'll betray you. So I have a lot of them that.
So you have to be careful, and this is
Yes.
kind of, you have to be very master of build up right relationships,
Yeah.
because you can be betrayed, somebody can steal your role, somebody can do something bad, or how many supporters you can actually meet in your field? Is it common sense?
For in the
Supporters?
acting?
Yeah, for example,
Movie?
fellows supporting each other, because I see sometimes some project they do together.
Not really. It's basically, I got to look out for myself. That's what they think. Now, I have a manager who's my best friend, Joe Williamson, and he's the one that gets me all these movies. I don't even read from him. Since December of 2019, I've done 9 movies where I had first billing, which is incredible. So that's the main one, and I know other people I talk with, and I try to help. I'll give them lessons.
So they come to you for help as well, because you can.
And and the ones who are starting, I'll help them, give them lessons and stuff. I don't charge them because I know how tough it is. There's a gal, I think Bulgaria is from, and she's she's Serbian. And I helped her with her son. Her son ended up in jail and everything. And
How did you become a minister? Because it is a very unusual work, I would say. It looks like you are serving, but who do you serve? Yourself, God, or people?
not me, people. I'm serving God. We're all called to serve. Matthew 20:28, Mark 10:45. We're all called to serve. And I had a lot of miracles. When I was 9 years old, they were going to amputate my leg. My mother wouldn't let him. The doctor said he's going to die after 12 hours. And so I knew about prayer. And we always went to church, a serving church. My brother and Robert, my Radislav and me. And then I had those throat operations and then this thing with my shoulder. So a lot of prayer went into it because I didn't want to be a cripple for the rest of my life, like the doctor said I would be. And then after I did The Game of Death and Black Belt Jones, I was called to the Union Rescue Mission as a celebrity. And they found out I was a Christian, and I did the sunrise service, the prayer and whatnot. And I was ministering to like 25 street people. And they loved the movies I did, So now I'm encouraging them.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew, they asked, did you ever do drugs? No, I never did drugs. I never drank. I do take 40 to 50 herbs and vitamins a day. And
It's against the law.
what, vitamins? Yeah.
Joking.
So the CEO was watching, and he said, that was unbelievable. They hung on every word, every scripture. Could you do a service? I said, sure. Then the LA mission heard about me. Then the Fred Jordan mission and Long Beach. So before you know it, I'm doing services everywhere. And then the LA County Jail, the chaplain, Mark Maciel, was a big fan of Bruce Lee. And one of the inmates got released, and he's in the Union Rescue Mission Spiritual Growth Program. And he called Mark and said, You're not going to believe it. Stick the assassin from Game of Death is a preacher. So I started at LA County Jail. Then I've been to 13 different states. I've been to Pelican Bay, the worst one in the country, 12 times.
Wow.
And this is how it is. And I know when I was down and out that I needed encouragement, and no one was there. My family was with me, of course, a lot of love. And this is what my phone, I get calls all the time and I don't charge him. I got a friend, he won't talk to someone, send me $50 and then we'll talk. I won't do that.
Do you have some account where people can actually send donations?
Yeah, they do on, my website is melnovak.com, melnovak.com, and I have PayPal on there.
And what's the name on the PayPal?
Just
The same.
Mel Novak, yeah. I just got $100 from a guy in Alaska who hears me on OmegaManRadio.com. I've done 192-hour shows. It goes all over the world, 167 countries. Then another one is called Stick. Him and his wife, Kevin Gallagher, wanted me to do a show every week. I want to name it, he said. He was a big Bruce Lee fan. My character in Game of Death was Stick. So he calls it Stick with Jesus.
Good name.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And that's how it started. And I've been doing it 39 years on Skid Row and prisons. I've done over between 10 and 11,000 services in a devil's territory. So when you're serving God, you're going to get attacked more than most people.
Yeah. You did very good. You're still hanging on.
Oh, yeah. Should have died 7 times. Can you imagine?
Oh, come on.
No, really.
You will not die.
I remember the time the doctor told me I was taking naproxen, naproxen, so I could play softball, anti-inflammatory. You're only supposed to take it for a month. The doctor had me on it for 11 months. Burned a hole in my stomach. I got peritonitis. I was dying.
Oh, wow.
And I heard him tell my daughters, be prepared, we're going to lose him. They were screaming. And I thought, yeah, baby, Micah. I laid a Serbian.
What made you healed?
God healed it because I should have died.
Your prayers, your belief in yourself?
Self is
Discipline.
dethroned. I mean, I depend on, it's been a tough 39 years doing that ministry with all this. And some of the calls where they just dump, and it's draining. And rarely does somebody say, well, how are you doing?
And how are you doing?
Yeah.
Did anybody ask you questions? How did you have a conversation with Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris? Or maybe
yeah.
you had observation how they act, what their routine, what their lifestyle.
Yeah, I always talk to them, and like the old Brenner, I really liked him. He was nice to me. He killed me. And then Max von Sydow, he played Jesus in The Greatest Story Ever Told. And so I would always, I'd always talk, and they would think it was like, wow, you do this at Skid Row and prisons? Because a lot of people wouldn't get caught dead in there. Because I have to sign a paper if I'm taken hostage. They don't make deals in the prison. But I never worried. We had a...
So you're going at your kind of expense. Whatever it happens over there, it's on you, right?
Yeah. One time at LA County Jail, they in the church service, they had 2 stabbings in the service in 12 days.
Wow.
And I had a service 3 days after that, and I had about 70 inmates in there. So I told them, before I start the message, I got to express something to y'all. Y'all heard about the stabbings, I know. So if any of you come at me with a shank, which is a knife, I'll take your eye out, then I'll repent. Nobody said boo. I mean, what's the last thing you want to lose is your eye.
That's right.
So don't come at me with no knife.
That's right.
It's crazy. And it's biggest jail in the world, LA
You
County.
see, fear is holding you alive. If you will not put out fear on those who doesn't think properly, you will be in danger.
Oh yeah. I was 2 times they had a big riot and I was in the middle of it. And boy, the angel protected my butt because I didn't get touched. It was a miracle.
Unbelievable. You know what? You are angel. And I would love to testify something because you don't know this. And yesterday I was, first time I looked to your birthday and I figured it out that you have actually, you have the same date of birth as my father.
Oh,
The same.
June 16th.
1942. You were born the same day as my father.
Oh boy.
And I remember how you came in my house.
Yeah.
And it was few days after he left. And you don't know that house was kind of connected to warrior as well, like Hulk arm wrestling. His family used to live in my house before we bought that. So it's all kind of about the warrior. You kind of warrior, you're helping others. You're protecting others. I'm thankful for you that you came in my life.
Thank you. Do you know that Psalm 56:8, God counts your teardrops and puts them in a bottle? That's so precious.
I'm so thankful for what you're doing. You're saving the world, you're saving people by your own expression, how you're holding yourself, how you're dealing with your situations in life. And if we would have more people like you or take advantage of opportunity, that's why I'm doing this video, that people will take advantage
Yes.
and see that your personal experience, you're not a fantasy that you're playing a role on the Hollywood movies. You're a real person. We're in your home where we can see what is values. This is all values for you. And what we see over here, we see your family, we see some trophies. By the way, that trophy is about how to be bad, right? And you can be awarded for that, right?
I was voted Villain of the Year. Yeah.
So, and I would love to give a message for everybody. You have to become more human.
Yes, yes.
You have to believe in God, wherever it is for you means, or higher power, and work on your sides, good and bad.
Yeah.
And try to harmonize yourself through words, because words are powerful. That's why
Very
this
powerful.
prayer is working for everybody.
Life and death are in the power of the tongue.
So thank you very much, and I didn't know that I will cry.
But that shows how you are. That's good.
It's actually the first show where I'm crying.
Well, is very good.
Thank you.
There are times I've come home from Skid Row and I sat and cried. You know, a mother suckled that child, and all at once that child's laying on a street. He's not a child anymore. And prisons.
By the way, you helped me and supported in my court situation. I'm very
I
thankful
prayed for you on that.
for that letter what you wrote, and in the court on my divorce. It helped me a lot because judge was paying attention for that, because he sees that I'm not a fool, and he sees who is who.
Yes.
And plus, if somebody is gardening somebody, means that person has value.
Yes.
And how we can bring value to the world? By helping each other, by supporting each other. That's why everybody, I encourage everybody, try to help each other, try support.
Amen.
Amen.